Sunny 95.
Sunny 95.
Welcome to The Reasons We Smile with Dr. Kvitko, the show that brings you man-on-the-street interviews, celebrity guests, groundbreaking research, and heartwarming stories about the reasons we smile. Our show is also known as everything you've always wanted to know about dentistry, but were too numb to ask. Hello, I'm General Dentist Dr. Kvitko, and thank you for joining me today.
The following views and opinions do not necessarily reflect those of this station, its staff, management, or parent company. To hear a replay of this show or one of the great shows that previously aired, log on to thereasonswesmile.com or iTunes, keyword Dr. Kvitko or The Reasons We Smile. Listeners should not use Dr. Kvitko's comments and advice in place of an actual dental exam.
Brighten your life with a smile that shows the professional touch of Dr. Kvitko.
Time now for The Reasons We Smile with Dr. Kvitko. Call 459-9769 to discuss your dental issues. Now, here's your host, Dr. Kvitko.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to The Reasons We Smile. I'm Dr. Kvitko. This is episode number 547. Today, the title of our show is that we are welcoming H.K. Derryberry and Jim Bradford live by phone from Nashville. And we're going to bring them on in just a second. Before we get started, let me remind you, if you'd like to follow me on Twitter, it's at Dr. Kvitko. And if you'd please go to my office Facebook page and like us, that would be awesome. Also, all past episodes, complete with video, are available at thereasonswesmile.com, and we are streaming live on Facebook. Okay, let me just tell you a little bit about H.K. Derryberry and Jim Bradford. According to medical science, H.K. Derryberry should never have survived. Born July 8, 1990 in Nashville, Tennessee, this 2-pound baby boy arrived 3 months premature due to an automobile accident that took his 19-year-old mother's life. Because of the accident and his premature birth, he was born blind, with cerebral palsy, and other lifetime medical issues. His father abandoned him at age 5, and his parental grandmother has raised him. H.K.'s life was forever changed in 1999 when he unexpectedly met Jim Bradford, a local business executive who was married and had 2 grown daughters. H.K. and Jim became inseparable, and Jim's personal mentoring and constant interaction exposed H.K. to a world he had never experienced. Vanderbilt University researchers discovered that H.K. is among only a handful of people in the world with highly superior autobiographical memory, HSAM, allowing him nearly total recall of every detail and minute of his life since he was 4 years old. Today, H.K. and Jim's inspirational message, which is, if God is in your life, anything is possible, captivates and inspires audiences everywhere. They have shared their story nationally with more than 100,000 people since 2012. In 2017, they were nationally featured in an Inspiring America segment of the NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt and The Huckabee Show on TBN with Governor Mike Huckabee. In October of 2016, their story was featured in USA Today. Their book, The Awakening of H.K. Derryberry, is an Amazon bestseller. Let me say that again, The Awakening of H.K. Derryberry. A German and Braille edition was released in 2018. H.K.'s life is a constant reminder that you can accomplish anything you desire in life by first defining your personal capabilities, maintaining a positive attitude, working hard, having fun, and never giving up. His audience takeaway is, quote, the only disability any of us have in life is a negative attitude. That is so cool. So good morning, H.K. Good morning, Jim. How are you guys?
Good morning. We're doing fantastic. Thank you.
I'm doing lovely.
You are so cool, HK. I was so glad to get to meet you, and I have my picture with you, which we're going to be scrolling on the live stream. It won't show up on the Facebook Live, but it will show up if people go to thereasonswesmile.com maybe Monday or so. So let me start off by saying, Jim, tell me the story about how you came to meet HK. Unless you want HK to give a little bit of a synopsis.
Well, God works in strange ways. The morning that I met HK, actually, I might tell you, today is July the 8th. This is his 28th birthday, so he's a birthday boy today.
Wow! Happy birthday. Thanks for being on my show on your birthday. And I can guess what day it is. I know it's a Sunday.
Well, he was born at 6:01 a.m. 28 years ago on July the 8th of 1990.
And it was a Sunday then?
I said he was born at 6:01 a.m.
No, I got that. I just wondered what day of the week it was.
It was a Sunday.
It was a
Just
Sunday
like today. Right, because HK has this really cool talent. You give him a birth date and he'll tell you what day of the week it was. We're going to talk about that more later. Maybe we'll do my producer's birthday or something. Okay.
Well, the morning almost 19 years ago. It was in October. It was the first cool morning that fall here in Nashville, Tennessee, and I played tennis in the winter with a group of guys that I'd been playing with for a long time. And anyway, long story short, we had played tennis, and I was thinking about getting a second cup of coffee because we had met for breakfast at about 6:30 that morning before playing tennis, and I was on my way to Starbucks in Brentwood, and about 1 mile before I get to the Starbucks store, for some reason, I pass a sign that says Mrs. Winter's Chicken and Biscuits. And instead of driving the mile to get my Starbucks coffee, I pull into a fried chicken restaurant to buy my gourmet coffee. Nobody was in the restaurant in the dining area, and I assumed it was probably the break. It was about 10:45 in the morning, probably the break between breakfast and lunch, and got my coffee, and as I turned to leave, for the first time, I observed a little boy sitting at a table. He looked to be about 5 years old, listening to a little black plastic boombox radio, and sitting at a table by himself. And I'm thinking, well, his parents must be in the restroom or something, but I didn't see any other cars other than mine in the parking lot. So I inquired about, asked the lady behind the counter, I said, pardon me, who's the little boy? And she said, well, that's HK. And I asked what he was doing there, and I'm kind of an inquisitive person, and she said, well, his grandmother, who sold you the coffee, is our cashier, and on weekends, she can't afford a babysitter, so on weekends, HK comes to the restaurant and sits while she works. And I said, how long does he sit? And she said, just from 8 till 5.
Wow.
Well, if you calculate that real quickly, here's a little boy that looks to be about 5 years old, and one of the things I observed about him was he had braces on both legs, so I knew something was wrong with him, and that's probably what triggered my question. I said, you've got to be kidding, and it offended her. She said, well, he doesn't do it every day. He said he goes to school during the week. But up until that point in my life, Dr. K, I had never stopped and spoken to a person with a disability. I had had many opportunities to do that, but I wouldn't have known what to say. I usually just felt sorry for them, had a little pity for them, and kind of walked by, tried to not stare at them to get caught looking. But anyway, as I'm about to leave with my coffee, she says, oh, he's also blind. And it just touched me like I'd never been touched before, so I walked right to his table and introduced myself, and that morning started almost a 19-year friendship.
Wow. Wow, that's really cool. Now, I have a grandson that has cerebral palsy. He can't speak, but he makes sounds, and he has a computer keyboard that he can type, and it will speak for him. And he smiles a lot. He does all kinds of neat things. But when I told this story to HK, HK, do you remember me telling you this story? Oh, wait a minute, I think we lost them. We're going to get them back here, so we'll get his answer to that. He probably didn't even hear me ask him that. But anyway, so HK, he has cerebral palsy. He has the braces, which means it's hard for him to walk unless he has those to hold his legs upright. My grandson has the same thing. And do we have him back? Okay, so I don't know if you heard my question, but HK, I told you about my grandson. I don't know if you remember this, but he has cerebral palsy. He makes sounds, but he can't speak. He has a little computer keyboard that he pushes buttons so he can talk. Do you remember what you told me when I told you that story?
I'm grateful to be able to talk. Is that what it is?
That's right. And that you felt sorry for my grandson because he couldn't talk. I thought that was so neat of you, because you can be a motivational speaker, and your story is very inspiring. And so you guys met back in when when HK was 9. So you wrote a book, and that you wrote in the book that it seemed that God was presenting you with a blank canvas, leaving it to you to complete the picture. Jim, tell me about that.
Well, in 2003, we had an article, and this kind of started HK's local fame, because he says he is famous now.
He is famous.
But we met a reporter one night. I love bluegrass music, and prior to meeting HK every Thursday night, I went to a bluegrass I'm going to call it a gig rather than a concert, but anyway, I asked HK if he'd like to go with me. Did he like bluegrass? He said yes, and so I started taking him with me on Thursday nights. And one night we met this reporter that was there actually doing an article on bluegrass and about this little venue that I attended. And anyway, she eventually asked if she could write a story in the Nashville, Tennessee, in our local paper about HK, and we got approval of Miss Grandmother. And anyway, long story short, after the article came out, it was a very nice article, and it was read by probably 500,000 people. And people started meeting and identifying HK quickly. But anyway, she asked me after the article came out, "Are you keeping a journal?" And I said, "I'm not." And she said, "Well, you should be, because you guys have so many neat stories that if you don't write them down, you'll eventually forget them." And I'd never thought about it. I'm certainly not a writer. But anyway, because of that, I started taking my laptop with me on business trips and started thinking about all the things that we'd accomplished for the first 3 years of our friendship. And anyway, over about a 5-year period, I wound up with what probably would not be considered maybe a manuscript, but that's really what I thought it was. But I had about 82 or 3,000 words, about 300 type pages. And then a few years later, a friend of mine approached me about helping with HK, and together...
was that Andy? Andy Harden?
It was Andy Harden,
okay.
And Andy is a retired military officer and retired attorney, and has a great vocabulary, and is an aspiring writer. So together, for the next probably year and a half or so, we worked on what I thought was my manuscript, and eventually it's difficult to get a book published unless you've got a publisher, or unless you pay someone and you go out and just publish it yourself. And but anyway, we eventually started researching the internet, finding out how do you get agents, who are agents for this kind of book, and we finally found a couple of agents that really liked the story. We chose one of them, and he worked with us because he's a very creative, very knowledgeable man, and worked with us for probably another 6 months. And then at that point, he said, "I think it's good enough. Let's do a proposal." And we went to some publishers, and fortunately 3 of those publishers loved the story.
Cool.
We selected HarperCollins Christian Publishing, and so our book came out 2 years in September in hardback.
Mm-hmm.
Last year it came out in paperback. It also is available in Kindle. It also is available in audiobook, and our audiobook last year won Book of the Year.
Wow.
For nonfiction, faith-based books. So we've just been, and then we also, it just came out in German. Our publisher negotiated with a German publisher, so it's in German today. And last month, I believe, it was supposed to be the end of last week, I believe, our book is in Braille now and should be in all Braille libraries around the country. So we've been just so blessed.
Wow, that's really cool. And the book is called The Awakening of H.K. Derryberry, My Unlikely Friendship with the Boy Who Remembers Everything. It's by Jim Bradford with Andy Harden, and it is available at Amazon.com. And you might want to grab this. My wife also read it, and she said she was in tears through most of the time. So I want to go back to when H.K. Sorry for my grandson because he couldn't talk. H.K. is blind. He has to have the leg braces to walk. Right, he's partially paralyzed on his right side, and he has all of these challenges, and yet he is the one that has the positive outlook. It's just really cool. Now we're going to do Dr. Kvitko's question of the day. I think we're going to do it now. When we come back after we've talked to our caller, Jim, I'd wonder if you and HK can do the little interchange you used to do in the restaurant when you first met him. For about a 30-second version of that. Okay, so like I said, we're going to do Dr. Kvitko's question of the day, but before we do, we'd like you to listen to this.
This station will not be held liable for any contesting during The Reasons We Smile with Dr. Kvitko. Participation in the contest allows Dr. Kvitko to record and broadcast your name and call. 1 winner per household. Prizes are non-transferable, cannot be substituted, and are subject to taxes and fees. This station cannot be responsible for the inability to enter the contest, whether due to equipment malfunction or telephone difficulties. All decisions of Dr. Kvitko concerning this contest or eligibility are final.
And now it's time for Dr. Kvitko's question of the day.
All right, and what I didn't mention is the winner is going to receive free flowers from DeSantis Florist. But today, we're blessed because Jim and HK are going to donate a copy of the book, The Awakening of H.K. Derryberry. And so we're going to probably have two winners. We're going to have somebody win the flowers, somebody win the book, okay? And whoever gets the answer correctly first will get the pick, and then the next person who has the correct answer will get the book, or vice versa. Okay, so today we are on the phone with an extraordinary young man, H.K. Derryberry, and his best friend, Jim Bradford. Which of the following about H.K. and Jim are true? A. H.K. is blind. B. H.K. and Jim have teamed up to be motivational speakers. C. Jim, with the help of Andy Harden, has written a book called The Awakening of H.K. Derryberry. Or D. All of the above. All right, the winner's going to receive those free flowers from DeSantis Florist. Another winner will receive a copy of Jim and Andy's book about H.K. The number to call is 614-459-9769. That's 614-459-9769. So go ahead and call now.
You won't believe it though. I wanna hear your mind, and there's nothing else in the world tonight. She said, people don't take the time. Hey, people don't take the time.
Hi, I'm Keith Carlos, winner of America's Next Top Model and star of Chocolate City 2. Look for my smile on the big screen this summer, courtesy of Dr. Kvitko. Stay tuned to The Reasons We Smile with Dr. Kvitko, the world's most interesting dentist.
Hi, I'm Dr. Kvitko, general dentist and host of The Reasons We Smile radio and roadshow. Did you know that you no longer need to visit several different dental professionals to get more complete dental care? We handle everything from cleanings and orthodontics to restoration, implants, and smile makeovers, all in my office. And now we have 2 locations. Get the most advanced technology and procedures available today. It's more complete dentistry.
Visit worldsmostinterestingdentist.com for more info about Dr. Kvitko.
Dr. Kvitko! Let's go!
Hi, this is Richard Simmons. Dr. Kvitko's here, and he's going to help you with all of your problems. Are your teeth yellow? He can fix that. Are you missing a tooth? He can put a new one in. How is that?
That's very good. Thank you, Richard. All right, we're back. We're doing Dr. Kvitko's question of the day. We have 4 callers on the line. We have Jennifer, Cindy, Laura, and Sandy. And let's see here. Let's go with line 1. That would be Jennifer. Hey, Jennifer, how are you?
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you for listening. Thank you for calling in. Do you have the answer to Dr. Kvitko's question?
Yes, all of the above.
All of the above is correct. And would you like the flowers from DeSantis or the book about H.K. Derryberry?
The book.
The book. Okay, so we're going to have to get the address, and we will give it to Jim Bradford, who will send it to you directly through the mail, okay?
Okay,
so
great.
Please stay on the line. And then we're going to go to another winner. We're going to go to Sandy. That would be line 4. Sandy, how are you?
I'm fine, thanks.
And Sandy, what do you do for a living?
I'm a dog walker.
Okay. And so, Sandy, we're going to play a little... I don't think HK can hear us. Or yes, he can. He can't hear us? Okay. Tell me your birth date, day and year. It's anonymous. Nobody knows who you are. And then HK is going to tell you what day of the week you were born.
Okay. So the month and the year?
Month, day, and year.
Month, day, year. May 20th, 1965.
May 20th, 1965. So we're gonna ask HK when we get him back online here. May 20th, 1965. Correct?
Yep.
Okay. So keep listening. You're going to find out what day of the week that was in a little bit. And stay on the line because you're going to get we have to get information from you anyway as to how to get you the flowers. Okay?
Okay, great.
All right. So we're going to bring HK and Jim back on. And so HK, we have a question for you. what day of the week was May 20th, 1965? Oh,
That was on a Thursday, and you don't look a day over 18.
how about that, Sandy?
Did anything else happen on her birthday, HK, that you can remember?
That day in 2013, a real bad tornado hit Moore, Oklahoma.
In 2013, so the same date, but in 2013? Wow. Norman, Oklahoma had a tornado. Yeah, so tell me about this memory that HK that you have. How did you know you had it? I know, Jim, you kind of discovered it accidentally or over time.
I did.
And was it the people at Vanderbilt, right, that diagnosed it?
Well, actually, they diagnosed it, but one day HK corrected a gentleman. He and I were walking past these two men that were speaking at our church, and HK stopped me and said, anyway, long story short, the man was telling the other man about they have a meeting this coming Thursday, and they said it was on, the man said it's Thursday night, the 7th.
Right.
And HK stops me and says, Mr. Bradford, who said the meeting was Thursday night the 7th? This coming Thursday is the 9th. I stopped and backed up, and I said, are y'all talking about a meeting on Thursday? They said yes. And I said, well, I think HK's got something to tell you. And so he corrected him. He said, well, Thursday's not the 7th, it's the 9th. And so the gentleman, this has been several years ago, he took out a little palm palette, and he scrolled down in his calendar and said, well, HK, you're exactly right. He said, that was a good trick. How'd you know that? And he said, I just know dates. So later, after worship service, he and I were in the car waiting on my wife, Brenda, to come out. Anyway, I said, HK, how'd you know the date? And he said, well, I just know dates. My Grammy, his grandmother, says I have a gift. And so I said, well, what can you do? He said, if you give me your birthday, I'll tell you the day of the week of your next birthday. And so that's the way it started. And then I thought, I was so impressed. Everybody I would see, I said, come here and give HK your birthday. And so then later, so that was 2 years after I'd known him.
Mm-hmm.
And then later, about a year later, Vanderbilt heard about, well, actually it was a little bit longer than that, because we kept doing this. And one day I said, HK, if I gave you the year, could you give me the date? And he said, yes. Well, he did, and that was more impressive than just giving me the date of the next birthday.
Wow.
So then Vanderbilt came along, heard about him, and they started studying his memory, doing in-depth studies of his brain, trying to determine maybe why he has such a great memory, and if his memory could help Alzheimer's patients.
Oh, okay.
He studied there now for a few years at Vanderbilt, and he's one of about possibly 10 or maybe 12 people that they've identified in the entire world today that has hyperthymesia, and that is the ability to recall or have total recall of everything that's ever happened any minute of a day, every day of your life. And HK can do that since he was 4 years old.
Wow, wow. So, okay, now I had to tell you, after I saw you guys speak and I came up and I told HK my birth date, and I said, yeah, I was born on Thanksgiving. And he goes, no, you weren't. I go, what do you mean that wasn't? He goes, no, that was a Wednesday that year. It really burst my bubble because my mom told me I was born on Thanksgiving, and I've spent my entire life telling people I was born on Thanksgiving. And it was November 25th, 1955, right? HK, was it a Wednesday or what was that?
In 55?
Yes?
Friday.
It was a Friday. Okay, so all I can think, maybe my mom went into labor on Thanksgiving, and maybe it was after midnight. Maybe she wasn't really purposely telling a lie, but sounds like I was actually born the day after Thanksgiving. Very cool, very interesting. But I am disappointed to learn. Okay, so now we do have to go to a break, but can we do 30 seconds of what you were telling me when you and HK first met?
Yeah, you want to do that now?
Yeah, let's do that now.
Well, the morning the morning I asked the lady, what he was doing there, and she told me, and he said he was blind. It just touched me like I'd never been touched before, and I walked right to his table, and I said, hey, buddy, how are you? What's your name?
Doing good. I'm HK. What's your name?
My name is Jim.
Nice to meet you. Where do you live?
I live in Brentwood.
What street?
I live on Harpeth River
What's
Drive.
that off of?
It's off of Old Hickory Boulevard.
What time did you get up this
I got up at 6
then
o'clock.
What did you do?
I took a shower.
Then what?
I put on my tennis
Then
clothes.
what?
I drove to Brentwood to meet my tennis partners.
Then what?
We'll stop right there. HK, at that point, he could not carry on a logical conversation.
Right.
All he would do is ask me, what did you do next? What did you do next? And after about 3 minutes, I'm thinking, I'm being interrogated by the FBI. And so anyway, I told him I had to leave, and I said, HK, it's been nice meeting you, but I've got to do some errands this morning for my wife, Brenda.
Nice to meet you, too. Hope to see you again soon.
Well, and I said, well, me too, and I didn't know it right then that I had just made, as of today, an almost 19-year commitment.
Wow.
I started going back on every Saturday. If he was there, I would go in and sit down and talk with him. And after about the third Saturday, I said, HK, because he just asked the first 2 times I went back, he asked the same questions. Where do you live? What street's that off of? What'd you do next? What time did you get up? And I said, look, I do the same thing in the winter every Saturday. And I said, look, I need to find out about you. So if you keep asking me those questions, I'm not coming back to see you. And I found out quickly how smart he is because he's never asked me those questions.
That's cool.
He's telling me about himself, and that's when I learned about his mother having the accident, losing her life in a car wreck when she was pregnant with HK, and so that's how the friendship started. And I started going back every week if he was there. Sometimes I'd go on Sunday afternoons after church, and then eventually, after about 3 months, his grandmother, I think, had enough confidence in me that she allowed me to take him away from the restaurant, and we just started doing a lot of things. And here it is, almost 19 years later, and I'd say that we're very, very good friends. And
Cool. That's really neat. That's really neat. Hey, we have to go to a break. We'll be right back. You're listening to The Reasons We Smile with Dr. Kvitko, episode number 547 with H.K. Derryberry and Jim Bradford, and we'll be right back.
You can't take me as I am, not just a little bit. I don't know who to be. I'm a paper cup, baby, of the sea. I know you see it too, 'cause you're too much for me.
This is Clark Kellogg. Stay tuned for more of Dr. Kvitko.
Estás escuchando con Dr. Kvitko aquí en su estación favorita.
Hi, I'm Dominique Reichert. Like what you hear? Why not use the show to promote your product or service by becoming a sponsor? Call 614-262-9588 to learn how. That's 614-262-9588. Call now.
I'm Grandpa, and I go to Dr. Kvitko, and I still have all my teeth. Real ones. Where's my glasses?
All right, we're back. I'm Dr. Kvitko. We have Jim Bradford and H.K. Derryberry with us on the phone live from Nashville. We really appreciate them being on the show today. It's really awesome. So, by the way, Jim, I'm the middle child of 5. I think the middle child is just the absolute best, don't you?
I think that's true.
Because you're the middle child of 5, just like you. Okay, and then the other thing, when you worked really hard to get him into the mainstream classes, I think that was very important and so cool. And I know that Bill Schenk tutored HK a lot to help make that happen. And my grandson, my son and his wife have been going through the same thing. Had meetings, and they've been able to get him into the regular class with the regular children because they have identified his intelligence is there. And so I'm identifying with a lot of the same struggles, and I hope it turns out as well for my grandson as it has for HK. Now, I do have a question about college. I know that HK wanted to go to college. What happened with that?
Well, basically, HK, in his when he was taking his ACT testing, he actually made, he took it twice. He made 13 once, 14 the second time, and mainly he is paralyzed on his right side, and I might tell you he's the first child in the history of the Tennessee School for the Blind to learn to use a Braille machine with one hand. The Braille machine is like a computer. It takes 2 hands to do it. So he's literate. He reads and writes Braille, but he's half the speed of a blind child that uses 2 hands to do his Braille machine.
Right.
He would, when time was up on the testing, he was about half finished.
Right.
He didn't get additional time, so because of that, he has not attended. We're working right now, and probably at some point in time, he will start taking some classes, but I don't know that he would continue going to complete graduation. But with his memory, if it's a lecture class like history,
yes.
He makes 100 on every test because everything he hears he doesn't forget.
Wow.
But anyway, he would love to go to college, and we fortunately, and a blessing we've had is we have gotten to speak at a lot of universities. This past year we were at LSU, we were at Auburn University, we just got back from the University of Kentucky, Harding University. It's just we're speaking this year twice at the University of Georgia.
Wow.
And so it's just, even though he hasn't been through school as a student, we have been on the campus of a lot of universities, and he's got to meet the president of those universities. And I keep thinking one of them, surely one of these days, will give him maybe an honorary PhD.
Yeah, really. So I want to make sure people know how to get the book. Tell me, first of all, if somebody wants to hire you to come and be their motivational speaker at their event, how do they do that?
Well, to get the book, you certainly, is that what you're asking?
No. Let's start by if they want to hire you to be a motivational speaker for their event.
How do you? We have never advertised our speaking. It's a word of mouth thing. Last year we spoke to 22,000 people in 11 states plus the Grand Cayman Islands.
But how does somebody find you if they want to hire you?
They can go to our website, which is www.hkderryberry.com.
Got it. Okay.
You read the story, and then it shows where we will be, our appearances, and then there's a column there that you can contact us about.
Okay. And then getting the book. Let's do that real quick because I'm out of time. Got to be really fast.
Well, the easiest way is go to Amazon.com, click in H.K. Derryberry, and it's available in hardback, paperback, Kindle, audiobook, and so you can certainly get your book from Amazon. And like I say, if anybody buys a book and they say, well, I heard them on radio, if they call us or if they want to send us their book, we'll personalize it and send it right back to them.
Cool. That's really cool. And I want to thank you so much, and I wish I had more time. Maybe we can do this again sometime. But people, and what we haven't mentioned is all the money from the sale of this book, all the money from the speaking engagements goes into a trust fund for HK to take care of him in years go by when Jim may not be around to help. Correct?
And I guess the last thing I'd like to say is one of the things we talk about in our presentation, sometimes the title, is that it's never too late to believe. These children, young people that do have disabilities, it's just amazing what they're capable of doing if given the right, the right direction.
Right, and I'm going to leave with this. His grandmother Pearl said in the book, a quote, "Life is never as good as it looks or as bad as it seems." Thank you guys so much for being on the show. I am out of time. Let me just say, be sure to tune in next week, every week, right here on your favorite station. Goodbye.
This is Carly Red from Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, the hit show on VH1, urging you to tune in next week with my dentist, Dr. Kavitko.
If you're interested in learning more about this and other dental health topics, go to thereasonswesmile.com to access full episodes of Dr. Kavitko's show.
If you'd like Dr. Kavitko, the world's most interesting dentist, to speak at your next event, please call 614-262-9588. That's 614-262-9588, or send an email to speaking@thereasonswesmile.com.